My name is John Garland. I drive a 2010 Subaru Outback. Hiking, camping was a huge part of my wife and I's life, and really what we needed was a safe, comfortable vehicle that would handle snow, and pulled up like Consumer Reports, and it sort of made you feel stupid at the time if you bought anything other than a Honda, a Toyota, or a Subaru. Hands down, liked the Subarus better for reasons. At the time, we chose the Outback. We would drive to national parks. We'd go down to Sequoia, Kings Canyon, Joshua Tree, Death Valley, and all of those places have signs that say, 4x4 only or recommended, and all of a sudden, why not? So I've driven it across the country. I do a lot of road trips with my kids. We did an amazing trip a few summers ago from Madison, Wisconsin to Lake George, New York, upstate New York, and hit all 5 Great Lakes along the way. Got to put our toes in every lake, which was kind of a fun thing to do, and drive back. I love Lake Superior and the UP in northern Wisconsin. We've cruised up there, driven that whole coastline, taken the ferry out to the Apostle Islands with the car and gone up there, gone up to Duluth. In terms of mods on the car, I haven't done anything too technical, not much with the engine or anything like that. It's a 2.5 engine on a CVT. There's not a ton you can do without really putting money into it. And I just honestly, as much as I'd like to have more horsepower always, don't really need it. The one performance mod that I added is an electronic throttle controller from Ultimate 9 USA, which is awesome. Seriously, everybody who has a car that is, within the last 10 years should get this and put this on their car. It does nothing to your top end or your horsepower, but it changes all of the settings of your electronic acceleration by wire system. And so my car feels way faster than it is. It jumps off the line, and that's great. Pretty much all the other modifications that have gone to the car are either aesthetic or for sort of adventure off-road stuff. So, the biggest thing is that basket. That was the first thing that went on there and gets the most use. But I've got the Yakima basket, I've got an awning on there that we can deploy for camping to give some shade and shelter. I threw a hitch on the back, which means that we can, not only is it a recovery point, but also have a bike carrier that'll go back there. There's tons of yellow lights all over the car. My rationale being that it helps a lot in the winter, but it also makes me feel cool. So that's nice. Mud flaps on the car are pretty crucial around here, just to try and, Subaru paint is pretty fragile stuff, and so anything I can keep rocks off of parts of it. Threw some fender flares on there from Easy Flares, which are pretty cool. That's a really nice easy mod. Again, all these things are like low cost modifications to the car. Right now it's got its winter set of tires on there and winter wheels. These are Sparcos, and it's got some Nokian Hakkapeliittas on there. In the summer, we go to some black Rotas just to mix things up a little bit. And then recently I added a ladder rack on the back of this that was custom fabricated by a friend of mine. And that's allowed me to add some mounting points for shovels, for tools, hatchets, and a roto packs out there, which can hold either potable water or gasoline, depending on what I'm using, which is nice. For something like the overland trip, you're never more than 20 miles away from the real world, but at the same time, that can be an important 20 miles, right? It's much rather have 2 gallons of gas on there or a little bit of water if you need it, so that's nice. As someone who fancies himself an off-roader and is driving around on the dirt as much as possible, having a secure way to mount the phone is pretty important. Previously, I've been using magnetic mounts. This past summer, I led this Flatfest overland trip, which was a long drive, following directions in a place that I had never been. So really depending on navigation. And it was pretty much all off-road at speed. And I spent so much time with my phone falling down and falling down at my knees and falling down at my knees that as soon as I got back, I just reached out to ProClip via Instagram and shot a message saying, what would you recommend? How do I solve my problem, right? I need a reliable and safe way so that I can have my navigation in my line of sight. And they suggested going with the A-pillar clip and then got it matched up to my phone. And it's been great. I've never once had it fail on me. I've never once had the phone fall out. I was able to run a power cord up to it to that location. So now it sits up there on the A-pillar, totally within my, safe line of sight. I'm not looking down away from the road, and charges. And I mean, I really couldn't be happier. It's a really little thing with a car, right? It's not necessarily the first performance mod you think of, but when you're going 40 miles an hour down a dirt road with blind corners that you've never been on before and there's 17 people behind you trusting you to know the way, it's better to not have your directions, face down at your knees as opposed to up on the, the windshield where you can see them, so. So Subaru Flatfest is an event, a charity event that started, I think, about a dozen years ago. The two charities we work with are the American Family Children's Hospital and the Dane County Humane Society. ProClip has been generous enough to be a sponsor for the event for, I don't know how many years, but a number of years, certainly since I've been involved. Started in the parking lot out of Don Miller Subaru on the east side. And I think was just a gathering of enthusiasts, and at some point it turned into raising money for charity. Every single person involved is volunteering. Every dollar raised goes to the charities. None of it is covering overhead. Everything's donated. And my whole ethos about all of this is, if you have any money at all to be putting into your vehicle, you probably also have a couple dollars you can give to a charity, right? And I'm not talking about thousands of dollars, but anybody who's buying a sticker for their car also has, something they can give. And every little bit helps. And it's absolutely heartwarming to see the amount of support that comes from a group that really is made up of normal folks. I guess one of the things I like about the car is that between the online social media community, but also just the Subaru community in general, is that it's one of those brands that actually can sort of be the utility infielder and play both as a daily drivable, a reliable, safe family daily driver, but also be the car that I get to have some fun with on the weekends. It does get me to every single outdoor activity that I want to do. It gets me and the family there and reliably home. And it holds sort of all of the adventure gear we need to. We can pack it up and pack the roof. I usually will pack the roof with a bunch of dry bags. We throw tents up there, life jackets and a canoe, kayaks, paddle boards, bikes. You can sort of do it all.